皆様にご案内申し上げます。東日本大震災
Attention please.
追悼復興記念
The
式
memorial
は
event
間
to
もなく
commemorate
開
the
会となりま
victims of
す。
the Great East
繰
Japan
り返しご案内
earthquake.
申し上げま
In
す。
prayer for
東
revitalization
日
will
本
begin
大震
shortly.
災
I
追悼
repeat,
復興
the
記念
memorial
式は
event to
間もな
commemorate
く
the
開
victims
会と
of
な
the
ります。
Great East Japan earthquake. In prayer for revitalization will begin shortly. Thank you very much for attending the memorial event to commemorate the victims of the Great East Japan earthquake in prayer for revitalization. We kindly ask for your attention. Except for the press and authorized personnel, photography, recording, video recording, and bringing in any equipment are prohibited. Please turn off your mobile phone or set it to silent mode and refrain from making calls. Please refrain from eating or drinking inside the venue. Also, this is a non-smoking facility. We kindly ask that you refrain from smoking. In the event of a large earthquake or fire during the ceremony, the event may be suspended. Once the shaking has subsided, please follow the instructions from the staff and the announcement for the evacuation. This hall, located on the second floor. In the event of an evacuation, you will be guided to the first floor where the exit is located. Please be aware that running down the stairs can be very dangerous and may lead to falls. Please remain calm and go down the stairs slowly, avoiding any rush. Additionally, if there is overcrowding at the exit, it can be very dangerous. Please follow the instructions of the staff and act calmly. In case of any unforeseen events, we kindly ask that you follow the guidance of the organizer. Thank you for your attention and cooperation. Thank you very much for attending the memorial event to commemorate the victims of the Great East Japan earthquake in prayer for revitalization today. My name is Fukano Kenji. I will be serving as a host for today's event. Now, I'd like to introduce the program for today. First, we will hear greetings from the Vice President of the Fukushima Prefectural Mayors Association. Following that, we will sing the national anthem, and at 2:46 p.m., in accordance with the time signal, we ask for your cooperation in 1-minute moment of silence. Next, we will hear speech from the Governor of Fukushima Prefecture and a memorial address from the Chairman of the Fukushima Prefectural Assembly and a remark from the Prime Minister. Following that, Ms. Otake Hideko will deliver an address on behalf of the bereaved families. Afterward, representatives' flower offering will take place, followed by the choral tribute by the core members of Fukushima Prefectural Tachibana High School, Fukushima Prefectural Fukushima Higashi High School, and Fukushima Seikei High School. Following that, the word from youth will be presented by Ms. Hayashi Mizuki, Ms. Kantana, and Ms. Tsujimoto Sayaka, all second-year students from Fukushima Prefectural Asaka High School. Then the closing remarks by the chairman of the Fukushima Prefectural Town and Villages Association will conclude the memorial event. The ceremony is scheduled to conclude around 3:40 p.m. Afterward, all attendees will have the opportunity to offer flowers. That concludes today's program. Additionally, today's memorial event is being streamed online. Through this video stream, we honor the lost and share our commitment to revitalization. Before we begin, we would like to introduce letters to the future. Junior high school students reflected on the earthquake and shared their thoughts in these letters. A total of 1,238 letters were submitted, lessons to pass on, messages to my future self, and hopes for the future of Fukushima were the three things. Today, we will introduce three of them. First, lessons to pass on to the future. This is a piece by Ms. Endo Misaki, a third-year student at Nihonmatsu Municipal Iwashiro Junior High School. Through disaster education, I have realized that there is no such thing as normal in our daily lives. Going to school, laughing with friends over small things, coming home to a warm meal prepared by my parents. None of these are things to be taken for granted. On the day of the earthquake, all the happiness they had until then crumbled. Those who should have been able to do ordinary things, see their loved ones and return to their homes, could no longer say or hear the words, "I'm home" or "Welcome back." What can we do now? I thought long and hard about it. The answer I arrived at is to live in the present to the fullest, so that I can carry this happiness into the future for as long as possible. Next is a message to future self, written by Mr. Yoshida Sosuke, a first-year student at Shirakawa Daiichi Junior High School. Future me, how are you doing? On March 11th, the day of the Great East Japan earthquake, I was still in a mother's womb. I didn't experience the disaster firsthand, but I learned about it from my mother and my teachers. Over the past 13 years, I've come to understand that there are still people suffering, those who lost their homes and families, and those who are affected by the nuclear accident. Fukushima will face many challenges and obstacles in the years ahead. As the first generation with no memory of the disaster, I can't share first-hand experience, but I'll do my best in my own way, step by step. Lastly, hopes for the future of Fukushima by Ms. Suzuki Mahiro, the third-year student at Haramachi Daiichi Junior High School in Minamisoma City. Fukushima, as its catchphrase, Utsukushima, Fukushima, suggests both beautiful landscapes with both sea and mountains. However, the Great East Japan earthquake shattered that beauty into an ashes instant, turning once vibrant world into ashes. 14 years on, Fukushima is regaining color, moving forward with strength, lighting the future with hope. To further restore Utsukushima, Fukushima, shouldn't we, the younger generation, take pride in Fukushima and work to revitalize our hometown? With our strength, we overcome the disaster, and our kindness, we help one another. They are embodied in the beautiful landscape and traditional cultures of my hometown. I hope they are preserved and more people visit captivating Fukushima. Children born in the year of the earthquake are now in junior high school. As more children grow up without the memories, it's crucial to pass on the experience of the disasters. The works introduced today were selected by university students and young professionals. The selection process is displayed at the entrance, so please take a look later. So please wait until the opening. Thank you.
Now we hold the memorial ceremony marking the 40th anniversary of the Great East Japan earthquake. Opening address. Takamatsu Gigyo, the Vice Chairperson, Fukushima Prefecture Mayor Association, please come to the podium. Thank you very much for the participation of many concerned parties. I'd like to express our gratitude from the bottom of my heart. Now, we'd like to start the memorial ceremony marking the 40th anniversary of the Great East Japan earthquake.
よろしくお願い申し上げます。
国歌斉唱を行います。
Playing the national anthem.
演奏は昨年7月に福島県と包括連携協定を締結した日本フィルハーモニック
Orchestra, which concluded the comprehensive collaboration agreement with the Fukushima Prefecture last July. Please stand up.
Please ご着席願います。
Thank you. Please be seated.
続きまして、東日本大震災によって
We are going to offer a silent prayer for the victim of the Great East Japan earthquake. The disaster has vast damaged areas, took many precious lives, affected the Fukushima people's lives greatly. That is unprecedented big disaster. We're praying for the repose of the victims, to renew our thought resolution for the reconstruction, that participants at the ceremony, and all those who view the ceremony and those who listen to the kind of the broadcasting would like to offer a prayer of silence. We look at the altar on the stage. This altar has some flowers from the area where they've been effort for that reconstruction for the disaster. At the Anubon of the Kasura village and at the lily of the Skaga, that is another entering of the Kamatamachi town. Through these, we like to mourn the victims and share the thought for the reconstruction. Please wait for some time, being seated till the time. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand up.
東日本大震災の発生から14年が経過いたします。皆様、表中の方をお向きください。ここに東日本大震災によって犠牲となられた方々に対し、追悼の意を表するため、午後2時46分の時報に合わせて1分間の黙祷を捧げます。黙祷。黙祷を終わります。ご着席願います。式辞。
An address. Uchibori Masao, the governor of Fukushima Prefecture, please come to the podium. Today, in holding the Fukushima Prefecture memorial ceremony to commemorate the victim of that great Ichiban earthquake, with the citizens of Fukushima, I offer my heartfelt condolences to the souls of the victims and the bereaved families. On the March 11, 2011, the unprecedented combined disaster with a huge earthquake and tsunami overlapped by the nuclear power plant accident deprived more than 4,000 precious lives, beautiful hometowns, drastically changed the daily lives we had thought ordinary, and many things. It's 40 years since then. Even now, many people continue their evacuation lives, and the Fukushima Prefecture has many difficult challenges: restoration, reconstruction in the area under evacuation orders, decommissioning, and countermeasures of contaminated and treated water, issued of the rumor damages and fading memories, the responses to the frequent natural disaster and the rapid depopulation. On the other hand, the way that the Fukushima citizens had effort and warm support at home and abroad, and that endeavored of the government, including the Prime Minister Ishida Shigeru, who is present today. Last year, the countries and regions that have import restriction of Fukushima agriculture, forestry, and fishery products had decreased to 6. In evacuation areas, of the 4 towns designated for specific the resident place for the return have promoted decontamination and demolition. The results of the initiative up to now have appeared invisible. Under the circumstances, the areas whose evacuation order were lifted have expanded new movement for the recreation of their hometown. Last year, Tsushima district of Namiya town planted rice seedling for the first time after disaster at nuclear power plant and had rice harvesting for the first time in 14 years. In the part of this area, evacuation order was just lifted 2 years ago, a special at the base area for the reconstruction. The residents who have returned are small in number, and still the rice has not shipped yet. But they have continued their effort steadily for lifting a shipment restriction to lead to a restart of the agriculture business. In the Tsushima paddy field, we can meet them. With this thought, the residents got together from their evacuation site. In that woodland where the people's calm life disappeared once, cheerful laughter sounded after a very long time. And the breath of the restoration of the region can be surely felt from that golden rice years. Before the disaster, the beautiful rural landscape covered that at the hometown. As long as the thought of a resident to regain the dear scene endowed with rich nature and filled with smile and vitality exist, I firmly believe they can get back their hometown they had. This year is the final year of the second reconstruction regeneration period, but Fukushima Prefecture path for the reconstruction is yet on the way. The long and difficult fight would continue into the future, but we would never be beaten. We firmly place ourselves in front of the deceased in the disaster. In cooperation with all those who consider Fukushima, we are going to continue to take on challenges, resolution. We would surely achieve our reconstruction. I conclude my address by praying for the peaceful rest of the deceased and asking that the divine protection of the future of the bereaved families and Fukushima Prefecture. Memorial address. Nishiyama Naotoshi, the chairperson of the Fukushima Prefecture Assembly, please come to the podium. Today, in holding the memorial ceremony of the Great Eastern Earthquake, I offer my words of condolences. 14 years ago, the huge earthquake and tsunami and nuclear power plant accident, the unprecedented copper disaster, took away instantly many precious lives and peaceful lives we had established. Again, I presented my mourning to the victims of the disaster and my condolences to the bereaved families who lost their loved ones. Even after 14 years after disaster, the prefecture is still on the way to reconstruction and face repeated difficulty, including natural disasters that have become more severe and frequent, like the one in Noto Peninsula earthquake last January, and also the rapid decrease of population. On the other hand, during that time, with warm support at home and abroad, and Fukushima citizens' strenuous efforts, last year, all 4 towns designated for special return area started decontamination and demolitions, and the evacuation order was lifted, and environment for the resident return and stay has been improved. The reconstruction is steadily moving forward. The strong movement to carve out the future for Fukushima is beginning to appear. We, those who experience the disaster and live now, with the thought for the deceased in mind, have to continue to convey that memory and lesson of disaster to future generations and people in that world, so that the same grief should never repeat again. I firmly vow that we certainly achieve that reconstruction. We continue our all efforts for that creation of that Furusato, the hometown Fukushima, which is safe and secured, full of smiles. I conclude my eulogy by praying for the eternal repose of the deceased and for the happiness of the bereaved families.
The words from the distinguished guest. Prime Minister Shiba Shigeru, please take the stage. Today, at the memorial ceremony to commemorate the victims of the Great East Japan earthquake, I, on behalf of the government, offer my deepest condolences. 14 years have passed since the Great East Japan earthquake. Here in Fukushima, many precious lives were lost, and there are still people missing. The massive earthquake, tsunami, and the accident at the TEPCO's Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant deprived many of their daily lives. I cannot help but feel deep sorrow for those who lost their beloved families, relatives, and friends. I offer my heartfelt condolences once again. Due to the impact of the nuclear disaster, many people are still forced to live in evacuation. I sincerely sympathize with those who cannot return to their hometowns and all the affected people. 14 years after the disaster, the recovery in the earthquake and tsunami affected areas is steadily advancing. In Fukushima's nuclear disaster areas, efforts to restore living environment and revitalize industries are being carried out in areas where evacuation orders have been lifted. In the return restricted areas, evacuation orders have been lifted for all designated reconstruction hubs, and decontamination efforts continue in return zones. On March 7th, evacuation orders were lifted for some areas in Iitate village and Katsurao village for land use. This is all thanks to the tireless efforts of local residents, Fukushima Prefecture, and the relevant agencies. Recovery from the nuclear disaster requires medium to long-term efforts. The government will lead the safe decommissioning of Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, rebuild living environment for returnees, and support industry revitalization through initiatives like Fukushima Innovation Coast Concept and Fukushima Institute for Research, Education and Innovation. In December last year, a cabinet meeting was established to address the final disposal of contaminated soil outside of Fukushima. We will proceed with the necessary measures as one united government. The next 5 years as part of second reconstruction and regeneration period will be crucial time to resolve the challenges of recovery. We will continue to strongly promote recovery policies. The valuable lessons gained from the great sacrifice of the disaster will not be forgotten, and we will pass them on to the future generations. We will apply the experience of the Great East Japan earthquake to our response to natural disasters, including Noto Peninsula earthquake and large-scale fire. We will improve the disaster prevention and improve living environment in the evacuation shelters. We will also establish a disaster prevention agency and work toward becoming the world's most disaster-prepared nation. May the soul rest in eternal peace, and sincerely pray for the peace of the bereaved families. With these words, I conclude my memorial address.
The words from the representative of the bereaved family. On behalf of the bereaved family, Mr. Otake Hideko, please come to the stage. Since it'll be the fifth spring after the Great East Japan earthquake and the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant accident, I met my husband when he traveled to the Guangdong, China, where I came from, and moved to the Okuma town, close to my husband's workplace. 5 years later, I became nationalized in Japan and thought I could live peacefully with my husband. It marked the 20th anniversary of our marriage when the big earthquake and nuclear power plant accident attacked us. At the time, I was at home with my husband who had cancer and my sister-in-law who had blindness. After the disaster, my sister-in-law and I went to evacuation center of the town, and my husband, suffering from the disease, got in the hospital's car. We evacuated separately. My sister-in-law and I moved from Okuma Town Evacuation Center to Kawachi village and Koriyama City without any means of reach. At the Koriyama City's the evacuation center, I last got the information that my husband was in Tamura City in vacation. I had that very vague memories when and where we evacuated because it was so confused at the time of the evacuation. When I met my husband at Tamura City Evacuation Center after 1 week, I clearly remember he asked me to take over his sister. After a few days from the reunion, my husband's condition got worse rapidly because of his anxiety and the kind of the environment changes that are unfamiliar with him. He was carried by ambulance to the hospital, but I died on that day. I withstood the sadness of the loss of my husband, moved evacuated centers with my sister, and at last settled in the temporary housing in Aizuwakamatsu City. It is very hard to move many times to unfamiliar places with my sister-in-law who needs nursing care. That in many places, people around us helped us, like going shopping together in the places I was not so familiar. During my evacuation, there was support and letter from the nationwide gave me a relief and that hope to live. And I began to think to send thank you letters in some time in the future. With this hope and support from my sister, I decided to study as a special student at Okuma Elementary and the junior high school, which was relocated to Aizuwakamatsu City. Every day, I continue to write hiragana, katakana, and Chinese character kanji different from the Chinese one. And sometimes got information on the tendencies. After that, sister checked the content I read out. And gradually, I can write letters in reply. The exchange of letters had continued and received at the courage and nutrition of my heart from that letter. My sister-in-law, with whom I shared the difficulty and pleasure during that evacuation, died 3 years ago. Now I live in Okuma town where a lot of memories remain. I want to return something to those who cared me for these 14 years and continue to study at Manabiya Yumenomori, like a lonely place in the dream forest in Okuma town, with a wish to help reconstruction in some way. At Yumenomori, I start with the children who are the main player in the future and receive a lot of courage from them. The first step of return I hope I can convey children the courages and the mental nutrition I've received and experienced since an of a disaster. Lastly, I'd like to express my gratitude to all the people for the various support from the beginning of the disaster. I'd like to close my words wishing the repose of the deceased from my heart.
7年3月11日、遺族代表大竹秀子。
Next, the representatives will offer floral tributes. I will call your name, so please proceed with the offerings of flowers. Governor Uchibori Masao of Fukushima Prefecture, please proceed. Speaker of the Fukushima Prefectural Assembly, Mr. Nishiyama Naotoshi, please proceed. Vice President of Fukushima Prefectural Mayors Association, Mr. Takamatsu Gikyo, please proceed. President of Fukushima Prefectural Town and Village Association, Mr. Miyata Hidetoshi, please proceed. Representative of the bereaved families, Ms. Otake Hideko, please proceed. Representative of the distinguished guests, Prime Minister Ishiba Shigeru, please proceed. Next, we kindly ask the members of the Diet to offer the floral tribute. I will call your name, so please proceed to one of the 6 available spots in order. Deputy Minister of Reconstruction, Mr. Koshimizu Keiichi. Deputy Minister of Internal Affairs and Communications, Mr. Togashi Hiroyuki. Deputy Minister of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries, Mr. Sasagawa Hiroyoshi. Deputy Minister of Economy, Trade and Industry, Mr. Oguchi Masaki. Deputy Minister of the Environment, Mr. Nakada Hiroshi. Member of the House of Representatives, Mr. Genba Koichiro. Member of the House of Councillors, Mr. Wakamatsu Kaneshige. Member of the House of Councillors, Ms. Mori Masako. Member of the House of Representatives, Ms. Kaneko Emi. Member of the House of Representatives, Mr. Oguma Shinji. Member of the House of Councillors, Mr. Yamaguchi Kazuyuki. Member of the House of Councillors, Ms. Iwabuchi Tomo. Member of the House of Representatives, Mr. Baba Yuki. Member of the House of Councillors, Mr. Hoshi Hokuto. Member of the House of Representatives, Mr. Sakamoto Ryutaro. Member of the House of Representatives, Mr. Nemoto Taku. Member of the House of Representatives, Mr. Akawa Kazuyoshi. Member of the House of Representatives, Mr. Hosono Goshi. of the House of Representatives, Mr. Tani Koichi. Member of the House of Representatives, Mr. Inoue Shinji. Former member of the House of Representatives, Mr. Nemoto Takumi. Former member of the House of Representatives, Mr. Takagi Yosuke. Next, we ask the distinguished guest from abroad to offer floral tribute following the staff's guidance. Chancellor of Teodorinda Rosa Rodriguez, Floral. Counselor of Australian Embassy in Japan, Mr. Peter Roberts. Second, Secretary of the Embassy of Federative Republic of Brazil in Japan, Ms. Saito Carolina. Second, Secretary of the Embassy of the Republic of Fiji in Japan, Ms. Kavarini Svania. Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Embassy of Georgia in Japan, His Excellency Timurad Rejava. Ambassador Ghana in Japan, Daniel Kaite. Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Embassy of Iceland in Japan, His Excellency Stefan Koiko Johannesson. Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Embassy of Republic of Kosovo in Japan, His Excellency Sabri Kichimari, accompanied by his wife, Ms. Afrodita Kichimari. First Secretary of the Embassy of the Lao People's Democratic Republic in Japan, Ms. Kusawam Munchalun. Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Embassy of the Kingdom of Lesotho in Japan, His Excellency Redzedi Sweets Boeteko. Deputy Chief of Mission of Royal Norwegian Embassy in Japan, Mr. Frederick Steen. Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Embassy of the Republic of Panama in Japan, His Excellency Walter Cohen Uribe, and accompanied by his wife, Maribas de Cohen. Secretary of the Embassy of the Republic of Moldova in Japan, Mr. Sergio Corcodel. Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Embassy of the Republic of Rwanda in Japan, Her Excellency Bonu Sefan. First Secretary of Embassy of the Republic of Singapore in Japan, Mr. Lim Chonfi. Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Swiss Confederation in Japan, His Excellency Roger Duvaha. Chancellor of Embassy of the Democratic Republic of Timor-Leste in Japan, Mr. Sergio Muniz da Silva. Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Republic of Tunisia in Japan, His Excellency Ahmed Shafla. Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the United Arab Emirates in Japan, His Excellency Zihab Ahmad Al Fahim. Charge d'Affaires of Embassy of the United States of America in Japan, Mr. Joseph M. Young. Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela in Japan, His Excellency Seiko Luis Ishikawa Kobayashi. Minister, Counselor, and Deputy Head Mission of the Embassy of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam, Japan, Mr. Nguyen Duc Minh. Next, I will proceed with the representatives from the EU. I will call your names and kindly take the stage and line up in 2 rows. Head of the Delegate of the European Union to Japan, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary, His Excellency Jean-Eric Paquet. Charge d'Affaires, the Embassy of the Republic of Austria in Japan, His Excellency Michael Lendi. Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Kingdom of Belgium to Japan, His Excellency Antoine Evra. Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Republic of Cyprus to Japan, His Excellency Yanis Mihailidis, accompanied by his wife, Ms. Anastasia Sotiropoulou. Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Czech Republic to Japan, His Excellency Martin Kuchar. Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Kingdom of Denmark to Japan, His Excellency Jaroslav Mason. of the Embassy of the Republic of Estonia in Japan, Mr. Endolik Eriksson. Minister Counselor of the Embassy of Finland in Japan, Ms. Henna Knutila, accompanied by her husband, Mr. Jere Knutila. Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary to Hellenic Republic to Japan, His Excellency Nikolaos Algios. First Secretary, Embassy of Hungary in Japan, Ms. Emese Kovac. Deputy Head of Mission, Embassy of Italy in Japan, Mr. Stefano Stucci. Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary, Embassy of the Republic of Lithuania in Japan, His Excellency Oleus Dikas. Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary, Embassy of the Kingdom of Netherlands in Japan, Mr. Rob Anderson. Council Embassy of Republic of Poland in Japan, Mr. Łukasio Osmicki. Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary, Embassy of Romania in Japan, His Excellency Ovdiv Alexander Raitsky. Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary, Embassy of Slovak Republic in Japan, His Excellency Ivan Surkosh. Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary, Embassy of the Kingdom of Spain in Japan, Her Excellency Inigo Paracia Espana. The Sweden Plenipotentiary, Her Excellency Victoria V. Now, I may kindly ask the distinguished guest in the first row to proceed with the floral tribute. Next, may I kindly ask the distinguished guest in the second row to proceed with the floral tribute. Deputy Director General of the Department of Political Affairs, Taipei Representative Office in Japan, Mr. Lin Kanko.
以上、代表者の皆様による
So
献花
that was a floral tribute from the representatives.
演奏は日本フィルハーモニー交響
Japan
楽団の皆様でした。
Orchestra provided a performance of tribute.
続きまして、検証を行います。
Next, we will proceed with the dedicated song. The song will be performed by the core members of Fukushima Prefecture Tachibana High School, Fukushima Prefecture of Fukushima Higashi High School, and Fukushima Seikei High School. The core of Tachibana High School received the Gold Award at this year's All Japan Tohoku Regional Tournament. Fukushima Higashi High School and Fukushima Seikei High School participated jointly in this year's All Japan competition and successfully competed in the Tohoku Regional Tournament. The songs are Horane and Yeo. The dedication songs will be performed by the combined core of 37 members of Tachibana High School, Fukushima Higashi High School, and Fukushima Seikei High School. The core will be conducted by Mr. Kobayashi Satoru, a teacher of Fukushima Higashi High School, and accompaniment will be provided by Ms. Tomiyama Ritsuko. Tachibana High School, Fukushima Higashi High School, and Fukushima Seikei High School core members. Thank you very much. Next, the words of youth. The words of youth is from the second-year students of Fukushima Prefecture Asaka High School, Ms. Hayashi Mizuki, Ms. Kanhana, and Ms. Tsujimoto Sayaka. The words of the youth. 14 years have been passed since the Great East Japan earthquake and Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant accident. We, who were 3 at the time of the disasters, are now finishing our second year of high school. Through Asaka High School's Super Science High School program, local companies overseas training for high school students, and school trips abroad, we have had valuable opportunities to interact with people from around the world. Last summer, I participated in a short-term program at Seattle University in the US and experienced homestay in Manitoba, Canada. My host family in Canada saw Fukushima not as a disaster-stricken area, but as an attractive region. Seeing them enjoy Fukushima's brochures, I felt a strong desire to share the present-day Fukushima with more people. I interacted with high school students in the UK, Germany, in Taiwan. They had heard of the Great East Japan earthquake, but didn't know much about it, having learned about it only as part of history. I felt that we must serve as a bridge between Fukushima and the world to accurately share the recovery. I had the opportunity to visit Germany, Taiwan, and India, for which I am deeply grateful to everyone involved. In each country, I gave presentations about Fukushima, not only covering the earthquake and the nuclear accident, but also sharing the voices of people from the social region. I also introduced Fukushima's rich nature, culture, and traditions. What left a strong impression on me was how many people told me, "I want to visit Fukushima." Step by step, Fukushima's recovery is underway, with more visitors returning and revitalizing the area, while the lives of residents are also being restored. I often feel saddened that Fukushima's current state is not still widely known both in Japan and abroad. However, through direct conversations with people overseas, I realized that rather than holding prejudice against Fukushima, many just lack understanding of the disaster and its current state. We, as high school students, have the power to share Fukushima both domestically and internationally. It is important to engage in direct dialogue and deepen understanding. We will continue to spread the message to Japan and the world.
Having overcome the challenges of the earthquake and nuclear disaster, Fukushima is now ready to make significant progress in the near future. 震災と原発事故の困難を乗り越え、福島は今、将来に向けて大きな前進を遂げようとしています。
We want people around the world to know that Fukushima stands strong as a safe and thriving place, and that its food brings smile to everyone. 私たちは世界中の人に知ってほしい。福島県が安全であること、そして福島県の食べ物はみんなを笑顔にすることを。
I love Fukushima. We are continuing to rebuild Fukushima. I want to be a bridge between Fukushima and the world. 福島が大好き。私たちは福島の復興を続けています。世界と福島の架け橋になりたい。
We pledge to witness Fukushima's recovery, reaffirming that it is safe and secure. And demonstrate our full potential as the next generation to carry forward its recovery. With this statement, we conclude the words of the youth.
Hayashi Mizuki-san, Kan Hana-san.
Hayashi Mizuki, Kan Hana, Fujimoto Sayaka. Thank you very much.
Closing remarks. Chairperson Miyata Hidetoshi, the Fukushima Prefecture Village and Towns Association, please come to that other stage. We'd like to close the memorial ceremony marking the 14th anniversary of the Great East Japan earthquake. Thank you very much for the participation despite a busy schedule. Thank you very much. We close the memorial ceremony of the Great East Japan earthquake. Please be at the door seated at the waiting. If that you want to offer flowers, please wait for the preparation. And also those who finished the offering flowers, please be seated. We are going. Our staff is going to show you around. And also that I had an announcement for that kind of the bus to the visitors. From the 16 that we are going to have the service of that bus, shuttle bus to the Fukushima station. Just in front of the venue, that in the parking area, if you like to use the kind of the bus, please go to that place. We're going to start that bus service from that 16. Now we are preparing for that the offering flowers. So please wait seated. Thank you very much for your participation.